in a good company or a bad company? Are you going to invest it in a smart company or a dumb company? BMW is a very smart company. Volkswagen is a very, very smart company. The investors who have paid to become owners of Volkswagen and of BMW, these investors are telling the company, we believe we must deal with climate change, and therefore you must build a car that's a smart car. You must begin focusing on a transition from fossil fuels, from oil and gas, to a different way of making that car work. Can everyone see this is revolutionary? You have great big companies at the Paris conference. They are saying we need this regulation. We need this approach to climate change. Today, if we look at each of those companies, BMW, Honda, Volkswagen, where are they using their new resources? Where are they using those resources? Are they building more cars for diesel and gas? No, they are starting to make a change. They are starting to make a change to new kinds of power, even using electric vehicles. Now, of course, we realize today that electric vehicles are too expensive. We have not yet figured out how to bring the price of those vehicles down so that regular people like us can make sure we support buying or purchasing a clean new vehicle. They're still too expensive. But the competition is so important. A company in China is going to build a better car. Look at what's happened in the past 50 years. If we go to the roof of this building, we'll find there is solar panels using the sun. A solar panel will take energy from the sun, and it will use that energy to make the lights work in this building. Where are the solar panels coming from? The solar panels used to come from Germany, but China is building a better solar panel. Does everyone see that competition? And someone in Japan is going to build a better car. Competition is not always the best, but in the area of climate change, these big companies realize there is a huge market. It's in their self-interest to do what is right. In the next 5 years, in your lifetime, you will see completely different approaches to cars. It could even be not using the sun. It may use water. There may be a way to use water in the future and protect the planet using water. What I'd like to do, I realize you've been here for a long, long time. In our system, we only have class for an hour and a half. We don't have classes for 3 hours. So your system is different. But I am going to take you to a different set of topics. And when we finish those topics, we'll stop for the day. We just were speaking about business and climate change. Trade. The story of trade is fascinating. In 1945, the world had one heck of a lot of poor people. Look at the world today. There has been a great reduction in poverty. When we think about world trade, we see countries working together to encourage even more trade. Now, if you are interested in economics, and some of you are, the economists, if they came today to lecture here, they would show all of us a huge amount of scientific data that shows world trade has raised the standards of every single country. So for the last 25 years, if we go to Morocco, if we go to Canada, if we go to Argentina, almost every country has improved its place with the prosperity for its people. Some countries are doing just amazing work in their development. Other countries are not as much progress, but still, trade has brought about more affluence for those countries, higher standards. We can all look around us in this region. We can look at Thailand's prosperity has gone up and up and up. China's prosperity has reached a remarkable level. And the same with other countries. So for today, we can all agree trade produces many, many, many great results. Is there a negative side? Is there a negative side to trade? I'll use Mexico as an example. Mexico had always raised corn. Corn has been one of the main products of Mexico, and there are many, 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 many small farmers. In the last 20 years, with international trade, great big companies can buy corn in large amounts. These smaller farmers of Mexico are not able to sell their corn the way that they used to. It's a problem when one company or two companies begin to dominate the market. Let's use a good example from the United States. Since two of my degrees are from the University of Washington in Seattle, where Bruce Lee was a student, I'm very familiar with Microsoft. If we look carefully at the first 15 years of Microsoft, what did Microsoft do? What did they do? Microsoft dominated the entire field. When one company or two companies or three companies begin to dominate, it can actually mean there's no competition. Nobody can really compete with something that big. So trade very clearly brings important good results. But also, we must be careful. Are we allowing for a system that will enable a very few companies to dominate world markets. Now, in the time we have left, I'm going to briefly describe the structure, and then I'll leave you with one or two famous cases, and that will be enough for today on the story of trade and how we're connected to trade. As we look at the structure, let's pause for just a moment. Let's look around this room and find trade. Where is trade? Where is trade? This watch that I'm using, this watch is excellent. I love this watch. This watch is from China. This shirt was made in Malaysia. This belt is from Italy. These shoes are from the United States. Every one of us is part of the story of trade. We are able to buy this watch because trade has allowed us to have a product that, even though it comes from China, we can buy it in many other countries. The same with this shirt. So, we can start today and say, markets, world markets, allow each country to sell their products. And the way that we regulate that is with the World Trade Organization, the WTO. What is the WTO? It was created in 1995. It's a set of rules where countries agree to not discriminate against each other. They agree to cooperate so that if we go to the United States, I can buy this watch